you so much for joining me for my Outside the Pilates Box workshop. I have 4 of my favorite flows for you, all including the Pilates box, and we're going to take you way outside the Pilates box in this workshop. So first flow is going to be my favorite things flow, and that's actually the name of it, my favorite things. I put this together around Christmas time, so that's why it kind of has a Christmas name theme to it, but it definitely is some of my favorite things done with the box. And I call this position of the box when it's on the side of the reformer sidecar mode. It just makes sense to me. So in this flow, this is a really complete flow, I should say. It has extension, flexion, lateral flexion, and rotation. We're going to work the arms, we're going to work the legs, and of course, as always, it always comes from the powerhouse, your core. So let's go ahead and get started and look at the setup for today's flow. I have the box in sidecar mode. Now, you might want to move the box around depending on your rope length, your strength, and we'll go over all of that throughout the flow. Keep in mind, I keep my ropes about like this. So the longer loop comes right to the shoulder rest, and that is going to make a difference on your spring tension. So if you keep your rope significantly shorter, you might want to go down in springs. And today we're going to be doing this flow on a half spring. That's the lightest spring that I have. So if you're on your lightest spring and you can't go any lighter, make your ropes a little bit longer and this flow will work for you perfectly. I've done this flow on almost every type of reformer out there, and it works beautifully. So it shouldn't make a difference with what reformer you are working on. We're going to have our foot bar all the way down, and we're going to be on, like I said, 1/2 spring. And you're going to need some props. You're going to need your box, obviously. We're also going to be using some hand weights, and I have my hand weights back here. I'm going to get them out. I'm going to pick some 10-pounders. I do not know what that is in kgs. So if you're working with kgs, go to Google and figure out the difference. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and place those right next to my reformer right there. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to start seated on our box like this. So the box, I'm going to start with it right about here. So it's centered with my shoulder rest. I can always move it this way to make it a little bit lighter, or I can move it that way to make it a little bit heavier. And that's my dog. One moment, please, while I get rid of my dog. Coco. This is Coco, everyone. She came to say hi, and I'm filming part of this workshop from my house. Say hi, Coco. All right, I'm back. Coco's upstairs. So we're going to start seated on our box like this. This flow, each progression has different levels of difficulty. So we're going to layer on the difficulty for you, okay? So I'm going to start with one leg up on the box, and this leg is just going to kind of be right here like this. If you have tight hips, you might prefer this position than the next layer. I'm going to grab my strap like this. And again, like I said, if this is too heavy, I'm going to scoop my box this way so I get closer to my risers. If I want it heavier, I might scoop my box that way, okay? So I'm going to bring my right hand, the arm closest to my riser, into the longer loop. And then I'm going to clasp my hands right here like this. I'm going to roll the shoulders back. We're going to start with rotation, okay? I like to exhale on the exertion, especially when it comes to rotation. So I'm going to inhale to prepare. And then exhale, I'm just going to rotate towards my foot bar. I like to think about growing taller as I rotate. So I'm tightening those abdominals and I'm growing taller as I rotate. Now we're going to layer on a little challenge. I'm going to extend the leg long. I have tight hips, so I kind of sometimes feel a little bit of tightness in that hip. Roll the shoulders back, inhale, prepare. Think about wringing the abdominals out like a sponge. Now you're going to hear a lot about me. You're going to hear me talk a lot about rotation, extension, flexion, and lateral flexion. Every sequence, every flow should have all 4 of those movements in the spine in it. This is the rotation component, obviously. Now we're going to go right into lateral flexion. I do about 8 of each of these. So now I'm going to reach the hand up, I'm going to clasp the hands in, connect under the shoulders, inhale to prepare, and then exhale, I'm going to reach. And then I'm going to resist as the elbow comes back. And again, exhale, reach, cinching the rib to the hip, resisting that shoulder blade coming down. Exhale, reach. Now you can breathe either direction on this one. You just want to be consistent as an instructor. And I typically do 8 right there. Now we're going to layer on the challenge. I'm going to take this hand, I'm going to bring it down. My palm is facing the wall that I'm facing this way like this. Draw the shoulders down, lift from the pelvic floor. I'm just going to practice the reach. Now it's getting a little bit heavy. If it's too heavy, you just scoot your box a little closer to the risers. Second challenge, I'm going to add a tuck. I'm going to inhale, reach, exhale, tuck. When I tuck, I want to feel those obliques switch on right there, but also the lat resisting the elbow coming back in. I'm going to reach. I like to look over the hand, and then I like to follow the knee in. Now, are you ready for another challenge? We're going to lengthen the legs long. Hips are stacked. I'm going to inhale, reach, and then I'm going to tuck both knees in. You have to really cue those abdominals to draw the knees in. Lengthen the legs long, squeeze those inner thighs together, and tuck it in. So I typically do about 8 total, probably 2 or 3 preps that we were doing with the leg down. You want to give everyone in your class an opportunity to succeed. So I like to start simple. This is pretty simple. And then I slowly build. And I tell my clients, I want you to do the variation that is most comfortable for you. I want you to challenge yourself, but I don't want you to take yourself so far out of your comfort zone that you're struggling too much. So this way I can teach a diverse group of clients in one class by layering on the challenge. Now, we're going to sweep the legs around the other direction like this. We're going to work the other arm. Oops, my weights are a little bit in the way. So we're going to do the twist again, but this time it's this hand. So I draw the shoulders down, hollow out the armpit, sit as tall as I possibly can, and then this hand is going to clasp over. The primary working arm is going to be the arm closest to the foot bar. So it's the opposite arm this time. I'm going to inhale to prepare, exhale, rotate. Again, firing those obliques. And the lats are drawing that shoulder blade down. I think about wringing out those abdominals like a sponge to grow just a bit taller. Now, you could do the halo arms again, but it doesn't work quite as well. I feel it a little bit too much in my hip, so I don't do the halo arms on this reverse direction. I'm going to go right into the mermaid tuck. So I'm going to bring my hand down. And I'm going to tuck one leg under. The top leg is long. Draw the shoulder down. I'm going to inhale to prepare. Exhale, draw that shoulder blade down to find those lats and reach. And again, one more here. Exhale, reach. Now let's just do the leg. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, cinch the rib to the hip. Draw it down, lifting from the pelvic floor at the same time. Exhale, drawing it in right there. And in. Now let's layer on the challenge. Just go ahead and go into the full tuck right here like this. Inhale to prepare. Lifting from that pelvic floor, I draw the shoulder blades down. Now I think I can add to the challenge a little bit by reaching a little bit farther away from my box. Inhale to prepare. Lifting from the pelvic floor, I reach and draw it in. I'm really trying to cue those deep abs to draw the knees in while squeezing those inner thighs together. And one more here. Really keeping those hips stacked. Now I'm going to come up from here. I'm going to come this way here like this. I'm going to grab one dumbbell. And I'm going to sit really tall. I'm going to scoot to the very front of my box. Both palms are reaching up like that. Actually, sorry, both thumbs are reaching up this way. So it's like you're going to punch, okay? So I'm going to punch the strapped arm first, reach, and then draw it right back in, and then the other arm. Breathing however you want to breathe. Inhaling through my nose, exhaling out the back of my throat. I'm trying really hard to not rotate in the spine. I want to keep my shoulders level. It's pretty heavy. I do about 8 total. We'll do one more. And now if that is too heavy, you go down in weight. Again, these are 10 pounders. Now, I'm going to come into a tricep press, and I need to scoot forward just a little bit so that I have room for my dumbbell right here, like this. So I'm going to lengthen the arm and tuck. Everything works at the same time. Here we go. Arm is up, nose is right over my knees. So I'm going to lengthen and tuck. If it's too heavy, you just scoot your box back and lengthen and tuck. So it's a little hammer curl with the dumbbell, tricep press with the strap. Trying to keep my elbow nice and close towards the temple. Spine is long. Think extended spine. Remember we talked about flexion, extension, rotation, lateral flexion. This is definitely extension right here. One more. Good. All right, so from here, I'm going to ditch that strap. I'm going to temporarily ditch my weight. I don't need it for this next set. We're going to go into one of my favorite parts of this flow, and I think, thinking back, this is what inspired me to create this flow, was this exercise, these 2 exercises right here. Typically when I create a flow, first it starts with a spark. So if you followed me on social media at all, I always talk about finding a spark. And a lot of times, you know, I go through phases where I don't feel very creative and I'll see one move. Maybe it'll be on social media. Maybe it'll be at the gym. I also have a Peloton at home and I do a lot of their weightlifting classes. I'll see something from there and I'll think I could do that on the reformer. And that's actually, I saw something very similar to it like that on the Peloton app. Obviously they don't have reformer. It was just with weights. And I thought I could put that on the reformer. And so I built this entire flow around these 2 exercises right here. So I'm going to start with my box lined up with my shoulder rest right about here like this. Now we're on an extra light spring. Sometimes I feel like the extra light spring is not supportive enough. In your workbook, it's going to say an extra light spring, but on this reformer, I often like to go to a light spring just for the tricep press right here like this. So I'm going to switch to that blue spring. I'm going to move these weights out of the way because I think I might kick them. All right. So I saw this with a glider, a push-up. One hand had the hand that's going to be on the reformer. Someone had a glider under their hand, and then they had the floor obviously here. So I'm going to come into a plank position like this. My shoulders are directly over my hands. My abdominals are tight. I'm going to bend my boxed arm as I glide the carriage away. Hence, that's where the glider was, right? So what's better than a glider? A reformer. So I'm trying to keep my hips square. Abdominals are tight. Shoulders are square. I think about drawing those abdominals in to support that low back. Now I have a bit of a lordosis, a big sway in my low back. So I really have to focus on drawing those abs in to prevent too much sway. This is a lot of work for that boxed arm. There is no missing the work. Now from here, I'm going to bend the carriage arm. I'm going to press and catch. Press, catch. Now, if I really want to add to it, I'm going to add an arabesque. I extend the opposite leg from working arm right here like this. Press, catch. Abs are tight. Press, catch. Toning the standing leg. So my right leg is on the floor. I think about toning that quad so I'm nice and stable. Woo! There you go. So I typically do about 6 to 8 of each variation. So that was the spark that created this entire flow right here. I'm going to go back to that light spring, that extra light spring now, which on my reformer is a yellow. And I only need 1 weight. Okay, so we're going to work the inside leg. It's important to be aware of what leg you're working. So the entire first half of this flow, we're going to work the right leg. So I don't want to accidentally step onto the wrong leg because then it's going to change it. I like to fatigue one side of the body at a time. So the weight is going to come into this hand. And before we start, we're going to test the box placement a little bit. So my working leg, the right leg, is going to come onto the box. Now I should easily be able to lunge and extend this arm up. It's a bit heavy. So instead of changing the springs, which I can't because I'm already on the lightest spring, I'm gonna move my box closer to the risers. So now my box is pretty much centered with the shoulder rest, okay? So from here, palm is facing me. Just practice lunging down, reaching that arm up. If it's too heavy, scoot the box closer to the riser, the anchor of the strap. So I'm gonna reach up. Not so bad, right? All right, now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stand into the box to come up like this. Now I'm gonna bring my strapped hand behind me. As I come down, you're gonna come down low and I'm gonna reach the dumbbell up. Now I'm gonna press into the strap as I hop back over. A lot of leg work, but that strap is going to help. Take it up as you go down. Now press into your palm as you come up and over and reach the dumbbell up. Press back into the strap. It's going to give you balance. It's almost like pressing into a handrail. It definitely helps. So you want to use the tension in the strap right here. Press into the strap with your palm as you come up and over. Fire up. Woo, right there like that. Fire back up. A lot of work for those legs as well as the arms. So the inside leg is getting the majority of the leg work, but both arms are working evenly. Whew. I usually do this for about 45 seconds. I'm out of breath. All right, so now we're gonna turn our box the long ways, like this. And I'm gonna line my box up with my carriage here. Continuing to work the right leg, I'm gonna take the right foot and bring it onto the carriage. Now, when using a single dumbbell, if I'm gonna do one hand, I like it to be the opposite arm for lunging foot. So it kind of keeps you a little bit more square and balanced. So before we start, always find the setup, proper body positioning. I'm gonna roll the shoulders back, connect down into that shoulder girdle. Nice, long, extended spine. I'm gonna lunge forward. I wanna think nose, knees, and toes. Nose, knees, and toes. That's my proper alignment, bringing it back up. I always try to set the exercise up before we start counting the reps. And again, one more practice. Nose, knees, and toes. Now you can use the dumbbell just to weigh the body down, or you can add some movement. That's what I'm gonna do now. So as I lunge forward, I'm gonna reach the dumbbell to the instep of the carriage foot and take it up. I typically do sets of 10. We're gonna take it down, nose, knees, and toes. Switch on the glute as you come up. Don't we all hate it when we have that client that always asks, what muscles are we working? Is this for my legs or my arms? Obviously, yes, it is a full body exercise. But to eliminate those questions, I always try and talk about what muscles are firing, because it's my pet peeve when someone says, well, is this working my abs? What is this for? So if you want to eliminate that, try to layer that into your cues. The first round of cues is always the movement that's happening, lunging forward, nose, knees, and toes. It's a lot about the setup as well. Then I start talking about the core and the muscles that we're working. So I'm gonna tighten the core as I lunge down. I'm gonna switch on the standing glute as I fire it up. And that really has helped eliminate those pesky questions. What muscle is this working? Because it's definitely my pet peeve. That, and can we work abs today? I hate that one too. All right, so from here, we're going to go out to here like this. So we're gonna hold, so we held the last one right here. Now I bring the dumbbell into both hands, draw the shoulders down. I'm gonna slide the foot in and out. Always a practice one. Now we're gonna layer on the challenge. I'm gonna extend the arms up, everything reaches away. Everything comes back in. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bring it back in. Now my hips are square. The carriage leg, you're gonna feel that quad and the glute working, but I also feel the box leg stabilizing. So it is a full body exercise and a nice extended spine, bringing it back in. Whew. All right, we're gonna take it to the other side. So we just worked this way and this way. We're gonna go this way one more time. So I'm gonna hop off of here. I'm gonna turn this way like this. And then I'm gonna bring my box back to the short box position like this. We're gonna test out the placement of the box first thing, okay? So our first thing here is we're gonna go into a pretty crazy burpee combination, okay? I'm gonna walk you through it. But first, you wanna be able to stand here and easily reach the straps up. Now, as I do that, I have to switch on those glutes, and I even tone the tops of the legs to have a nice stable base. You can't be here like this. You have to think about drawing the ribs to the hips, squeeze the glutes, quads are also engaged as I reach up. If this isn't a solid foundation, I'm going to be moving from my shoulders too much. Now, here's our pretty badass burpee combination, and that's actually what I call it. All right, so from here, first thing we do is we reach the dumbbell and the strap up like that. Keep the dumbbell and the strap both in your hands. Take it down to the carriage or to the box like this. Hop out. First thing I do is I rotate towards the carriage, reach the strap up, come back down, and now all of my weight is in the strapped hand. My shoulder is directly over that hand as I reach the dumbbell up. This is there's a lot of work happening in this, so I do this for 45 seconds to a minute. 30 seconds is not enough. Reps of 10, way too much, okay? Then I hop back in. Now from here, this is where it starts. So I'm gonna go at a faster pace this time. I fire everything up like that. And then I hop out to my plank. Shift my weight to the dumbbell, rotate towards the reformer, and reach. Now, the shoulder is always over the boxed hand. No matter which hand it is, my shoulder is over that hand. Notice I keep the dumbbell close to the body as I reach and then return it. Hop back in. We're gonna go full pace right here. Reach it up. Find the box, hop out to a plank. Shift your weight to the dumbbell and reach. Switch hands. My weight is gonna come over the strapped hand and I reach this hand up. Whew, it is so much work. One more here. Here we go, we're taking it up. And then I'm gonna hop out, rotate towards the reformer, reach up. This entire time, my abdominals have to stay tight. I have to stay connected under those shoulders. Whew. All right, from here, this is a built-in moment that allows me as a teacher to check my notes, to think, recollect myself, kind of get present back again in the flow. Is what it is, I program these into almost every single flow. Something simple that I know the clients can't really mess up form-wise. They're safe. It's almost like busy work in a way. We're gonna do mountain climbers right here. Super effective, but it's also going to give the teacher a little bit of time to look away from the class and look at her notes. I need that a lot. So my shoulders are over my hands. Super easy mountain climbers right here, like this. Now, all those cues you know from Pilates apply here. Armpits are hollow, abs are tight, find that shoulder girdle connection. You can go as fast as you want. I do that for 30 seconds, and I love these moments because as a teacher, there's a lot happening. I'm watching my clients, I'm trying to cue everything, and I'm trying to stay present in the flow. So this gives me a chance to look at my notes. Okay, we've done this. What are the next two sequences that I need to be prepared for? So not only that, it's a great exercise for my clients, gets their heart rate up, and it gives me a little bit of time to check back in with my game plan. All right, so from my mountain climbers, we're gonna do the box hopovers again, going this way. So it's gonna feel a little bit different because we have a different hand in the strap, different hand in the dumbbell, but we're still gonna work the same leg, which is the right leg. Okay, so checking in with the placement of the box. So my outside leg this time is gonna be on the box because I still wanna work the right leg. So from here, shoulders are square, find a nice deep lunge right here like this. I'm gonna reach this hand up, and then I'm gonna hop through, and then this hand goes up. Now I'm going to press into that strap as I come up and over. Lost my balance just a little bit. Good. So fire into this leg. Fire, explode up and down. It's always the reverse that I feel the work the most in that box leg. And up. Again, 45 seconds right here. Press into the strap as you come back. Again, that's like a handrail. It's going to really help guide you through and over that box. Whew. All right, from there, I go ahead. I replace the strap. I'm going to bring my box to the long box position. We have one more set of lunges for this flow. And I line my box up with the carriage. I'm going to catch my breath. This one definitely has a HIIT component to it. So you will be winded if you're doing this class with me. All right, so here we go. We have lunges. Again, remember I said I want to use the dumbbell in the opposite working leg. So rolling the shoulders back, glutes are engaged, shoulders are square, hips are square, just practicing an easy peasy lunge right here and taking it up. As I go down, I want to stay nice and square. I'm going to switch on this glute to fire it up. Now we're going to add the arms. I'm going to reach down. So the choreography is very similar to the other direction. It helps me as a teacher if I keep it consistent. And up. So I do 10 here. Now I always like to anticipate the transition. So when we have 2 of these left, I'll say, okay, 2 more. And the last one, we're going to hold that deep lunge right here like this. Everybody hold. As a teacher, I look around to make sure everyone's in the same spot. Bring the dumbbell in, bring the knee in, practice pressing it out. Now we're going to add the arms. Here we go. Reach it up. We're here for 10, staying nice and low for 9, lifting from the pelvic floor. Woo! For 8, staying connected on those shoulders. I'm not allowing the shoulders to creep up to my ears. Just like that. So, as a teacher, when I program classes, it is so easy to get inflection, forward bending. Think crunches, hundreds breathing, but it's kind of one of the least effective ways to strengthen your core. Pretty much your 6-pack muscles right here are useful to help you sit up. They don't really support the spine that much. So I try to not do too much flexion. And I feel like people, when they want to work their core, they're automatically going to go do crunches and stuff like that. So people get that a lot in their own workouts. So if you'll notice, this flow didn't have any flexion in it. Yeah, no, we didn't really do any flexion. The warm up to this class, which you're going to see in the full length class, which is embedded, that link is embedded in your workbook, the 4-length 4K video class, does warm up and it does have quite a bit of flexion in it. And it's one of my favorite warm-ups to do. A lot of my classes start with a very similar warm-up. It warms up the body in every direction. I get flexion, I get extension, lateral flexion, and a little bit of rotation in the spine to warm everything up. Because there's plenty of that in the warm-up, I really don't need to address it too much in my flows. And like I said, I really try to get as much extension and rotation and lateral flexion as I can in a class. When I travel around, and I'm going to say this again and again in this workshop, when I travel around a lot and take classes, I notice the component that's missing the most in classes, and these are great teachers, great studios, is extension. And when in doubt, when I'm programming a class, when in doubt, I double check to make sure I have enough extension. And when in doubt, add one more extension exercise. It's really easy to do. It doesn't have to be swan. It doesn't have to be pulling straps. It can be something simple. Even a deadlift is extension. You are working the body while maintaining an extended spine. So you're strengthening the spine at the same time. So it really is there. You may just not notice it very much, but it is pretty easy to add extension if you think about it. So from here, go ahead and go to the next link, which will be me teaching this class to my good friend Hope. Also, we have